Well, Liam, thanks for joining us. Only really 10 weeks on since the end of last season, but in a few days' time it all starts again. But what's the mood in the dressing room going into the start of the season?
Really excited, obviously, with a short sort of gap in between. I think pretty much from when that final whistle went in the playoff game, the disappointment set in, but on top of that there was lads that were thinking, look, we need to get back to it, we need to get straight back into it. We was obviously in a good place prior to that game on the build-up with the run that we went on, and things were sort of coming together, and it was a real sort of moment for us that we can now use, I think, when we go into this season, of areas that we needed to develop, of things we needed to take care of a bit better than what we did, so that now we're probably standing in a better stead to maybe push for that top position, and sort of, go into this season with the optimism that we're probably already in a better place than we are when we finish that Hartlepool game off the back of a very good pre-season. So very excited and very positive throughout the group, and the new lads that have come in have felt like they've been here, pretty much all through last season as well. So it's all knitting together quite nicely, and a couple of days to go, a couple of hours on the training pitch, and yeah, we'll walk out Edgeley Park Saturday and embrace the new season with obviously a packed home crowd, some fantastic away followings, and another roller coaster season that we'll throw everything into.
I mean, you touched on it a little bit there. I think we all saw after the Hartlepool game the pain, the frustration that the whole squad felt. I mean, does that defeat make you more hungry in a way to put that right this season?
It does, but it doesn't make it sort of the outright sort of redemption kind of thing. It just makes it that, look, there was areas that we still needed to improve on, individually, as a group. And I think if you tie them things down on a day-to-day basis in training and take care of the fixtures as they come one at a time, that we're looking for improving on what we did last year, and that's improving different aspects in the tactics, in the individual performance, and in the moments of games where we felt that we probably dropped points where we shouldn't have done, and using it really as a learning curve to drive us, rather than just sort of saying, look, we need to get back to that place and sort of rewrite the history a little bit. It's just a case of using those little pointers, not just in that game, in a few of the games, and sort of honing in on making us a bit more well-rounded. And I think the lads that did taste that defeat will obviously have it sort of in them burning. But then obviously with the new lads that have come in, that will be starting a new challenge with us and looking to start really well, that'll be a good mix, and it'll drive us in the right direction, I think.
For you personally, club captain again this season, what does that mean to you personally? I mean, particularly having captained the club through what was a pretty bizarre year last year.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of times where I mentioned it did feel, slightly distant, and it's unfortunate for the lads that did play in that season, because when you talk about joining a club like Stockport County, it's the stadium, it's the fans, it's the history that's behind it that makes you want to be a part of getting them back to where they need to be and where they should be, and we know there's an exciting journey that's in place anyway. So for me to come here and show what I can do first and foremost on the pitch, throughout that first pre-season, and then being selected to be captain, it's a great honour. It's it's actually my wife's side of the family are all from Stockport, so to be able to, I lived over this way for quite a while, to see and go out in the streets, and people just stop and pass, and you don't actually realise how many on a day-to-day basis people that just want to talk Stockport County and get a feel of the new stuff that's going on, the new chapter. And I can proudly say that obviously when I go out there, I take the responsibility of captain just probably the extra little bit further, because to me it really means something that I can use experiences that I've gained elsewhere throughout my career and pass it on to the boys that are in there, and really sort of try and get this group to be as knit together as we possibly can, and we've definitely got that. I came in with some great lads that have obviously left now, and took over from Paul Turnbull, who's a great lad. I've been a couple of clubs with himself, and pretty much got the feel of what the dressing room was going to be about, and And for me, like I said, it's just my standards day to day in training, out on the match that other boys will look to, and as long as I'm looking after my side of my game and things like that, then I'm sure the rest will look and follow. So I'm going to be really proud walking out Saturday with a group, and obviously seeing that the numbers that will come through the gates. We had the fun day the other day, and obviously the younger, the kids that are getting involved and coming around and seeing the club, and the faces were so excited. So from the different ages aspects, it's going to be brilliant to share, obviously, hopefully some successful moments this year.
Obviously, although we did miss out at the end of last season, it was a great season for you individually. You know, the best defensive record in the league. You won the Supporters Player of the Year at the end of the year awards. But do you feel there's even more to come from you this season?
Yeah, obviously when we spoke to the gaffer, really liked sort of the enthusiasm and his vision that he sort of was speaking to me about when we've had chats, and the fact that he's a player development coach. You know, just because you're at the other side of 30 doesn't mean that you're not going to learn anything. You're not a complete player at any point, and that's sort of what the gist is throughout the group, that everybody wants to strive to get better in the day-to-day actions that they do and out on the training pitch and in the games. And that for myself is, you know, I'm not looking at age as the number, as they say, and I'm just looking to develop in all the areas that I can, and, you know, use my strengths that I already have and sort of mix them with the weaknesses, and become an all-round well-balanced player. And, you know, I'll be doing that on the training pitch, working closely with the new members of staff that have come in for individual targets and things like that. And like I say, it was a great record last year, and we're obviously really proud of that, and we know that a good foundation at the back is really important throughout, you know, a long season campaign, especially with the quality that we're going to have in front of us. So for us, if we can maintain those standards and protect the goal as well as we did last year, we're going to be in a great place this year. And we've actually gone on to strengthening that area, which just shows the ambition of the club, that we're not just settling for where we are, that we want to keep going and keep going again.
I mean, you mentioned it there. I mean, part of that great partnership last season was your partnership at the back with Ash Palmer and James Jennings, but there have been a couple of new additions, Will Fish and Ben Barclay. How have you found playing with them so far? Yeah,
I mean, you know, just the stature of the lads, the confidence that they've come into the dressing room with, in a position that's obviously you need to be particularly reliable, and, you know, all the lads, when we're going through the phases of play, you've got to have the lads that sort of shut the back door and make sure everything's safe. And already you can see the characteristics that those two in particular bring, that they're coming from obviously some fantastic experiences at other clubs, and that will do us in good stead again. And like you say, with the competition for places being, you know, really, really strong in all the areas this year, it's something that I, and probably Ash himself, I can't really speak for Ash, but he'll relish the challenge to go and compete. And obviously if that pushes the ceiling a little bit higher for us, then that's great, because, you know, we was a really good outfit last year, and like I've already said, this year from the Hartlepool moment and the pre-season, we're already looking like we're in a better place as a group.
Just speaking about the manager for a second, I mean, when he first came into the club, obviously it was in the middle of a really hectic period. I think you had 28 games in 14 weeks. I mean, how helpful has it been to have a full pre-season with him now? Do you feel like you have a better understanding of what he wants from you as a group?
Yeah, definitely. It's nice that he now gets his sort of spin on the way things are run and the way that the sessions are delivered, and the new sort of routine that we've got. You know, it's been fantastic, and if you asked any of the lads, the sessions that have been put on for us are you know, at elite level, and any player from, you know, any club and will want to come into this environment and learn. I think it's fantastic that the stuff that they can do individually and stuff as a group. So for us to obviously keep progressing, it's important that we take all the information on board. We know once we get out there on a Saturday that the work for the week has been done, and people know the jobs, and it's really clear what the gaffer wants from us, and I think that's going to suit us as a group as well. So hopefully we can show some of that over the course of the season.
In terms of what he does want from you, have you had a talk about targets for this season?
Yeah, obviously within the group we know where we need to be, where we want to be. We've talked about the dream goal and the realistic goals that we're going to set ourselves, and we know that the league's only getting stronger with the players that are moving around the clubs. There's a lot of clubs now that are really going to be pushing for that promotion place, and we know how difficult it is when there's only 2 spots available. So, we're going to sort of still look after our own selves and the journey that we're going to be on. But for me, I want to get out of this league. I want to show what this group of players, can fully achieve, because the quality is here. And obviously, all right, in games there's going to be times where you don't play so well, or there's little bits of moment of luck and stuff. But I think as a group we can take care of those moments a little bit better this season, and hopefully go on to do what was set out at the start of last season. Like I said, we have improved. We're looking like we're going to keep improving because of what's in the group. There's a lot of potential, and hopefully, I'll be talking to you at the back end of this season in a similar scenario to last, only that we go one step further.
Well, we start with Dagenham at Edgeley Park on Saturday. They obviously finished last season really strongly, and they obviously have that big physical presence up front in McCallum and Balanta. How much are you relishing that challenge this weekend? Yeah,
and it's not just going to be those types of games where it's sort of the names that are going to be pushing for the league. It's going to be the whole season, and I sort of look at, as I mentioned before, being reliable and consistent, and that's what we're going to need throughout the whole of the season. And I think it's probably an excellent start for us. I think Dagenham was probably one of our more difficult games towards the back end of last year, and we knew the scenario that they, were trying to push for the playoffs, and that's what they're going to be again this year. So I think for us, in those moments again where we play against the sides that are going to be pushing for the top 7 places, we need to do better in that sort of aspect, and that was sort of one of the things I was talking about earlier on, where we needed to improve. And against those top sides where we didn't quite deliver, we need to do that this year. So we'll be sort of analysing the game leading up to that, the work that we've been doing already, and making sure that those are the games that we get off to a good start with, and sort of maintain our push and our momentum really. It should be a great game. They're a really attacking side, and so are we, and like I said, on the day it's going to come down to intensity and desire, and I think from what I've seen in pre-season so far, lads have done really well, so we'll be in a great place.
I mean, it does look like it's shaping up to be an incredibly competitive league this year. You look at the work that Wrexham, Notts County, Chesterfield are doing. How important is it, do you think, to hit the ground running and get off to a good start this year?
Yeah, it is, because I mean we didn't do too bad towards the start of last season, or the very first game of the season was disappointing. But to be honest, we had a great reaction from that in the second game. And I think obviously you can hone in so much on results, but for us, we're going to, like I said, looking at the performances. And if the performances are good, then I'm pretty sure the results will follow with that as well. We need to take care of things at home. I think the results, again, another area that we need to look at improve at is getting the wins at home. So for us to have a home game at the start of the season is fantastic, and hopefully we can sort of put a bit of a stepping stone in place to show the rest of the league what we're going to be about this year. But by no means it's going to be an easy task. So if we can get off to a great start, that's going to be excellent. We found ourselves chasing for a little bit of last season, so it's important that we do stay in and around that group, because as you say, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be vying for that top 3 spots. And if you take your foot off your gas in any of the games, we know that what can happen. So it's important that we do our daily actions positively and correctly, and take care of the business when it does come to the kick-off.
Liam, thanks for your time.
No problem.
For the season.
Thank you.